3, 2, 1, you're busted.
We are back. We said this is what, 83 or
83.
Those numbers keep getting more and more.
Do you know what's funny? I'm just thinking about this right now. I'm just thinking of the time we did the first one, and nobody knew that we recorded it, and we had to throw it in the trash.
I forgot why.
Because
we slow motion. Our lips were moving at a different sequence, right?
It was that, but the audio didn't record, and we had that recorder that was sitting in the middle, and it wasn't good enough, so we had to throw our first one away.
I thought we had like a processor that was too slow.
We had that in the first 3 that are still up there because we had my old laptop, and then we bought this one, which we have to upgrade this one soon too. But we the first one, and I think we still have it because we never posted it up. Maybe one day we'll post it and show how far we came from that to this.
Yeah, it was on my desk and whatever. I need to shout out because every time I come to the office, and I think I have the coldest fridge ever at the office. That's why you hear it running. Last time we had someone come, they turned it down. But Cola Celsius. I dare someone to try to find Cola Celsius out there.
So what does that mean? You're special that you?
No, I think it's almost impossible to find places. They told me though, you know what Celsius did tell me?
What's that?
That this was one of the original flavors.
I wonder if they wanted to put something up way back when that would compete with Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi or RC.
It's so funny because people come here and they try it, or they try it for the first time, or they tried it before. And everyone has an opinion on which one is the best. I wonder how many total flavors, though, they have.
I can't imagine.
It's so funny because, like, I buy, like, 7-Up. I buy caffeine-free sodas. I know everyone's like, ooh, sodas, you know. But I don't drink any dark sodas anymore.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know. I got away from it. I just mostly drink like Zero Sprite, or like if I go out to eat, you know, I always ask like, hey, do you have
soda
any
water?
Yeah, I usually get soda water, but just with the bubbles. The bubbles are good for the stomach.
I still like Diet Mountain Dew the best.
It's the highest caffeine, I think.
That's why I need it. I live on caffeine.
I know.
I eat once a day and drink a bunch of caffeine.
What'd you think about Milos's journals? I'm still blown away by his journals.
You know,
I was thinking something. I just want to say before, I don't want to interrupt, so keep that thought. I thought I was super dedicated. And when I realized that, like, he wrote down, like, he has all that stuff, I don't think you wouldn't even be able to read mine. Number one, his handwriting was like, I always thought that was
it looked like
a
it was
computer.
A typewriter.
Yeah. Like, he has everything in there. I just have chicken scratch on, like, only I could read it. So I don't think mine would be of value to a lot of people because they'd be like, what's this say? Where his is like a textbook. Yeah, it's like perfect.
It looks like a printed journal, like computer printed.
But can you imagine he came here because I called him out when he wasn't here, you know, which is always like, to always tell someone, if someone calls you out, you need to retaliate and just like come back prepared. And he came back prepared, right? And I was like blown away. I was
way
like,
more than you.
I didn't even know what to say. I think we had a few people comment on there. When I looked at it, I was like, I don't even know what to say.
I was more, when he walked through the front door, I think he was joking. He's like, tell Jay to have his journals. Like, yeah, whatever. And he walks through the front door, and he only had 2 years with them. But when he opened those things up and you saw perfectly cut out pictures taped down and like everything he ate, how he was feeling, what times he did, like, I don't know if you could make a more detailed log. I don't think it could get more detailed.
You know, as a bodybuilder, like, I remember training for shows, dude, and like everything had to be perfect. My car had to be clean and my car had to be vacuumed. It had to be parked perfect in the garage. Everything was neat on my counters. My refrigerator, dude, all the labels were facing forward. My cabinets, all my stuff was facing forward. Like, I was so particular when I was regiment and every day getting up at 6 in the morning, going to bed at 9 every night. You know, I made sure I showered. I was cleanly shaved all the time. Like, I was just on point nonstop. And that was what I saw in him. I can't even imagine how particular his lifestyle was.
So just expanding on that, if you would have had something a little bit off, like Your car, what you weren't able to park it right, or like what would it have done to you?
It would have caused turmoil in my life because I was so structured, and I always say how great I could have been if I didn't become a business guy and want to monetize my success. Like, I heard the stories of Yates. Yates would stay and go home, and he would take very little guest spots because he probably didn't want to deviate from being the best bodybuilder in the world. And the truth is you become a victim of your success. So once I started to travel and I started doing the guest appearances, like it affected my mail order. Like, although I got busier, right? I made more money. Like my structure started to get less and less. Like if I wasn't going to bed at 9 because I was traveling that weekend, like it affected, how I felt. And, I needed that systematic approach. And I felt like as a bodybuilder, we take that tunnel vision and we block out all the noise, right? And we hone in on that one date, right? It's like you talk about the Olympics. It's comparable to that where you have to peak perfectly. And you don't want anything to kind of block the way. And every day is like, I always say this, Groundhog Day, it has to be the same. And that's one thing where I see someone like a Nick Walker in today's era, where he's just really honed in, and you and I can sit and have conversations. And I think we've even said it, like he could be probably the most person monetizing his success right now. I mean, obviously Chris could in Classic, but open bodybuilding, I feel he is right now probably the most popular guy, right? And he chooses to focus on the job. And it's very respectful. But at the same time, like I look back and I say, man, if I would have done that, how great could I have been?
Do you think you would have been different than you are?
I don't know. I mean, would I have beat Ronnie Coleman? That's the big question. I mean, I don't think so. I think you have to have. I think Ronnie was a little crazier than me in a sense. Like he went in the gym and he trained heavier. He trained probably more intensely. He
had no filter.
I just, he had a good structure though. You remember he went to Outback every day. He did. I mean, if you go back and read, and this is strictly by books, and when I traveled with him, Ronnie was very simple. Yes. Like he enjoyed his nice cars, but he would train and he wouldn't do any other activities. I was listening to someone last night on a podcast, and they were saying how, like, literally you can't do anything else. If you're a professional bodybuilder, like, you need to focus on, like, no other activities. I mean, it's really hard to go kayaking or dirt bike riding. I don't know. It's very difficult to have a lot of venturous lifestyle type things, right? Yeah. I thought about Arnold when he downhill skied. If you remember, he broke his leg when he was filming, probably in the middle of a movie. So they had to postpone probably filming because he decided to go ski. Granted, I respect that, right? I respect that he did that, because if I could go back and do it, like, I was a big snow skier. I loved it. But I got away from it. Now I'm scared. Mm-hmm. Milos says people are scared to take substance because, that's why they stay natural. But I'm scared to go out and do anything that's really physical at this point.
Do you think if you would have done little different things, maybe go out to eat or take vacations, or do you think it would have affected you?
No,
because I know you really did.
And I did do that. I mean, there were years I did it, but you've seen a different me definitely the last few years. I mean, of course. And I woke up today, I'll be honest, and I'm starting to try to plan some things out. I mean, I already booked October for Massachusetts already. Yeah. Hotels, airfare, everything. We booked JetBlue to fly because now you can get direct lay down beds, everything. Like, it's a lot cheaper, right? Booking it this far out. So I'm kind of planning ahead. And obviously we have Masters Olympia where we talked about doing Europe after, and that's not going to happen now. Yeah. We're not going to take a vacation like we had planned after. Yeah. So we're going to go and probably come back. For you. Although I'd love to do, you're going to stay.
I'm going to stay because we have appearances 2 and 3 weeks after. So I might as well just spend, what am I going to do, fly home for 5 days and turn and fly right back to Europe?
Well, we'll have to talk off the podcast because maybe we can plan, if we can do something on a Monday or Tuesday, it might work,
Yeah, for sure.
because I do have something next weekend. But yeah, so I was really blown away by Milos's dedication. I hope that transitions over to his athletes, because I just don't see anyone doing that.
No.
I would love to, like, someone to come forward right now and show me that detailed journal.
It's not happening.
You don't think so?
Not like that.
Like, he had pictures, dude, like pictures that he took.
Yes.
Like, that dedication alone, to have the person there to say, okay, I'm going to take these pictures every single week and I'm going to post them, cut them out, and put them in there.
And not only that, put them in there symmetrical.
Yes.
And wrote, everything is written around it perfect.
Yeah.
Like I said, that looked like somebody wrote a book and printed it out perfect. And like photoshopped and moved stuff around. Like, but the funny part about that is he had no idea that he'd be looking at these 25 years later. He was just living in the moment every day.
But you have, the best bodybuilder in the world for 4 years, second 6 times. I was top 10 in the world for, top 2 in the world for 10 years. I'm just blown away. And my hat goes off to him. We know that the guests love having him on the podcast. I know everyone's like, you should have him on every show. Like,
we could. We always can.
But we do appreciate him coming on.
Yeah.
We just finished up another contest, which we don't, once again, I expected to see more names in there.
Yeah.
Is it called the Big Man?
The Big Man. I think it was in Portugal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I saw some of the photos from it, and
who impressed you? I mean, the same winner is now third year in a row, right?
I don't want to be like mean, but nobody.
You see anyone that's going to crack the top 10 at the Olympia?
No. It's going to be very hard for the only person that I think could move into that top 10 that wasn't last year. Ian could, depending on how it plays out. Maybe Michael Crizzo, depending on the improvements he makes when he stands there. It's going to be very hard for anyone
unless
else
someone else shows up, like in the next few. I mean,
but just
can Antonio Burton move in there?
I don't think that's just my opinion. There's so many guys that are that good now that are in there. It's going to be hard for them. One of those guys is going to have to do something to move out to open the door for someone else to come in. Because there's a lot of, there's guys that are going to get 6th and 7th place that could be a contender at the Arnold. Because you got to look at the guys that weren't in the Arnold this year.
You know what someone asked me, dude? Like, they asked me my favorite Olympia. Like, which one was my favorite? And it's really hard to say. Obviously you think the first one that I win. 09 was great. 13 I always mention was great. But I'm trying to think, like, remember, the crazy part is as many years as I competed, I only competed in Las Vegas. 99 was the first.
Yeah, and that was your first one, right?
Yeah, and that's when it permanently moved to Vegas. It was in Madison. It was in New York the year before. They used to have in Chicago, all these places. Helsinki.
All over the world.
Yeah.
South Africa.
Yeah. But that's when it locked into Mandalay Bay. If I could say the years at Mandalay Bay, you really felt like it was, because there wasn't necessarily an expo attached to it, and it was very limited competitors. They had the press conference where we'd suited up. It was mandatory we wore suits or dress clothing. I feel like back then the press asked questions. But I think, that those would be the years, the Mandalay Bay. So 99, 2000, 2001, I skipped to 2003 and 2004. I think the first year at Orleans was, I think, 05.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought that you've never competed outside of Vegas,
where it's just bouncing around right now. The question is do you think the Olympia holds position in Las Vegas from next year forward?
I think it should. I know a lot of people would like to see it move around. Do
you think people like it being in Florida?
Look, and at the end of the day, the reason it's in Florida, I'm assuming is out of
contract.
The powers that be's control. So, like, they would love to have it here. Bodybuilding is sexy. It's a grown adult. It's a sexy sport. And you want it to be in a city that's sexy. Las Vegas is sexy. So you want the nightclubs, the nice dinners, the nice name brand stuff, the shows, everything about it. Florida doesn't have that. Now Miami does, but Orlando doesn't. Orlando is not a sexy
4 hours
place.
for Miami.
Yes, Orlando's where you take your family. You go to Disney World, you go to Epcot Center, you go to Universal Studios. You might go to Daytona Beach up the road or go to Tampa. It's just a different vibe. And I think as far as the way the shows ran in Florida, it makes it easy because it's all under one roof. So it's easy for the competitors, it's easy for the fans, it's easy for people to go there. But outside of the expo and the show, there isn't a whole lot to do outside of there.
Do you feel Vegas will ever lose its dominance of like a destination place?
No. Nope.
Not with the way it's growing, right?
No. I mean, just think about.
I mean, F1's coming this year.
F1's coming. We got NBA Summer League here right now. The Knights just won the title. They're trying to get the Oakland A's here. I saw this report that just showed out that this large company that builds arenas just purchased like 80 acres just south of the Strip, and the rumors are they're going to build an NBA complex there. We have this thing that Mark Wahlberg's talking about where he's trying to bring Hollywood to Nevada. There's so much going on here. Plus, the cost of living's low. The taxes are low.
They're fighting the movie thing, you know.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're
and look, and the other thing is, we're not even mentioning this. The UFC's here. That's the most popular sport in the world right now. I would assume it's one of and their headquarters are here.
Yeah.
And their major fights are usually here. So the major boxing events are here. Like, everything happens here. The biggest concerts, and we're not even mentioning the fact that the Raiders came here a couple years ago. So there's so much here.
The Knights just won the cup.
Yeah, we just won the Stanley Cup. Like, I don't see how it's going to go down from here. If you look at now, I don't mess with the music scene like I did years ago, but when I was in the music industry, the top 10 nightclubs in the world, 7 of them were in Vegas. I don't know if it's still that.
What was the number one at that time?
XS and Tao were always back and forth. And then obviously Trist was up in that top 10 and Marquee was in that top 10 and the One Oak. They had all these other venues. Now, at the time, they had some good spots in Ibiza. They had some good spots in Tokyo and Seoul, Korea and Hong Kong. And there were in Singapore. There were other venues around the world that were great too. But Vegas is where everything was. And it's a spot that bodybuilding is a very materialistic, probably, I don't know if you want to say arrogant, you know, because you got to be somewhat, I don't know if I want to say arrogant. I don't know what word I'm looking for. But Vegas fits all those things that bodybuilding is. And I think this is the best place for it.
We talk about the gyms all the time, but
we're not yet.
Someone just reached out to me too that's here, and they're like, where do you think it's better, here or Florida, to live for bodybuilding? And it's really, you know, I'm biased, right?
Of course.
But if I was to, like, a foreigner coming over, and like, where would I go? I mean, I would probably go to Vegas.
So my question would be, what would an argument going to Florida, and I'm a native Floridian, I lived there for 20 years. What would be the argument going to Florida?
East Coast can get there a lot quicker than flying across the country.
Okay, but what is necessary on the East Coast for bodybuilding?
I just feel, I don't know if I'll get flack for this. I feel that the fitness community, and you may correct, I feel it's more abundant in the east, the middle to east part of the country than the other direction.
Well, think of it like this, though. East of the Mississippi, I think it's like 65 or 70% of the population in America is east of the Mississippi. So there's more people there. So that could be why. But, I mean, I understand where you coming up from the Northeast, there were so many amazing bodybuilders that were in New York and Massachusetts and all that. Yeah, I understand. I think now, where years ago you had to be in one of those areas or you had to be in a hub, you had to be in California. Now, as long as you have an airport and a cell phone, it doesn't matter where you're at.
I think a lot of these places are closer, like Europe's closer, right?
Yeah, it is.
So like for the European people that are competing, I mean, we do have some Middle East people and whatever else too, but that's how I feel about it.
No, maybe
listen, let's ask the viewers, listeners, like, what do you guys think, you know?
Yeah, I mean, my argument Florida versus here, it's a lot cheaper to live here. The weather's better here. And I know people can say Florida's sunshine. It's not. It rains every day. There's massive storms, tropical storms,
I think the
hurricanes.
travel would be a little easier for a lot of people than sometimes flying all the way across the country.
No, if you look at, like, depending on where you're at. Like,
but if you're living here, I mean, just like Florida, no state income tax.
Yep.
Obviously, we get taxed in other areas. But, like I said, you have the option every single day in a radius. That's the key.
Yes.
Everything is in, I don't know what the radius we
10 minutes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You can train in a different gym every day for 3 weeks straight.
Probably more.
Yeah.
More. 2 months.
But it's all centralized where the show is going to take place.
Another thing that I would say is different here than anywhere else I've ever been in the world. If we get off a plane at midnight and we're hungry, what can we do?
Yeah, you can eat,
We can go have sushi at midnight, at 1 a.m. And goods, like all you can eat for $20.
There's restaurants. I mean, any place has, but yes, there are definitely more restaurants open.
Yes.
I mean, are all these 24-hour cafes and the casinos,
All those are too. And you can go to sometimes I don't know why I don't do this. Some of these older casinos that have been around for a long time that are off the strip, you'll see these advertised and it'll be like $5 for steak and eggs. And I never take advantage of it. I probably should. But it'll be, look, at the end of the day, you should live wherever you're comfortable living. But I think Vegas will always be the entertainment capital of America because everybody wants to come here. I know someone will say Hollywood or Atlanta because of the music industry or different parts. People always find a way to venture back to Vegas. And if this is true, what Mark Wahlberg's trying to do here, where he's trying to build this massive complex for movies and stuff, if he's able to pull that off, he has enough pull to pull some of that here. Because remember, they started doing a lot of movies in Georgia because it was so expensive in California. It made it they overpriced it to do movies there. Well, what happens if people that want to live in California, where they don't have to book private planes all the way to Georgia or somewhere else, they can just do a hop, skip, and a jump right here and knock them out where they have the same tax incentives. And I'm sure if they're trying to bring something here, I'm sure the governor I'm sure the governor will find a way to incentivize them for coming here. But
F1's coming. I mean, they just spent how much on the pavement?
We looked it up. It was like $80 million they spent just to get F1 here, paving the roads. They're building that complex.
What a mess it's been, though.
Oh,
We've been avoiding the strip.
I know. I said this the other day. I went,
you would drive.
I just know, just say December, everything they're doing here, it's going to be
till the next project.
Yeah. But this is something I noticed when we travel around the country. Where else can you go where all the roads are freshly paved?
I quit drinking cola, by the way, and I'm here.
I know. Here you are. You're saying I don't drink Brody.
It's light. That's why we like it.
Where else can we go in the country where you can have tiny, thin tires and rims and not crack your rim every other day? Where you can't in most of America. But if you look at the roads are, there's a ton of construction.
It doesn't rain, that's why.
It doesn't, yeah. But it seems like the government here, and I don't know, this is just my opinion, it seems like they take the revenue they make and they keep putting it back into making it better.
Oh, it's expanding. The sphere just opened. I mean, people are talking about that, hitting me up all. Chris Aceto just asked me about it.
Did he?
He's like, what is it like? They spent over $2 billion on that thing.
Yeah, I looked it up earlier.
But I would like to see it lit up. I mean, it has all these different things. There was some eye on it or something.
They showed yesterday, they had, because the NBA Summer League is here, and it showed the whole thing was a basketball, and it just said, welcome NBA.
What do you think about the number 1 draft pick? Poor kid comes over. How old is he?
He's 19.
Yeah, 19.
And I think, I don't, just like anything, we talked about this with Nick Walker, where people put unrealistic expectations on people. It's like, let someone just do what they're going to do. But the media put this on this kid that he is going to be the number 1 athlete of all time in any sport. And I'm going, that is such an unfair, we're not even talking about like the Michael Jordans that we're talking about. Like Tiger Woods was 5 years old on national TV already. Like,
yeah, some of the best Nike ads ever, right?
I mean, it's unfair. Kid. I mean, his first game, he gets posterized by a guy who might not even make a team. Like, I feel bad for him.
They booed it, you know.
That's not. I mean, look, he will find his way in the league, and he'll have a. I'm assuming he'll do well, but.
And Britney Spears just tried to tap him on the shoulder, you know.
Did she?
Yeah, I didn't see the whole thing.
No,
the security grabbed her and
oh, really?
Yeah, at Aria.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know
so
that.
You need to check it out. Yeah.
What? I didn't even know she. I know she lives
went
here.
up behind and they it's Britney, you know. It caused a big turmoil.
Is she still around here?
Yeah, she was over. I don't know if she was performing or if she was here for business or.
Wow.
She may have residency. I don't know.
Would you ever go watch her show?
No, I think I know other people that have though. I wasn't really into the whole teeny bopper Disney.
Yeah. I saw one of the Backstreet Boys was at Fit Club one day.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we've seen him. I was at this was years ago. I was at Chipotle, and Boys to Men came in there, and they were standing behind us. You know, I mean, I recognize them because I was growing up when they were. Yeah. So
I trained at the new Fit Club today.
How's that?
I'm actually donating a piece of equipment to them.
What, something that's going to fall apart?
No, it's a pull up like a dip thing and whatever. Yeah. So
I still haven't made it up there.
No, it's good. It's
far enough to where it's way out of my way.
Next to my house.
And again, but that's the thing about living in Vegas, where someone will say to me, "Why don't you go to this gym?" And I'm like, "Dude, that's 15 minutes away."
Yeah, so you're spoiled.
And anyone else will be like, 15 minutes. I'm like, within 6 minutes of my house, there's 5 other gyms that are amazing too.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're like, I don't want to fight traffic, and with all the roads, there's so much construction going on everywhere that I don't want to sit and idle through traffic to get somewhere else. But have you watched the Arnold documentary yet?
You know what? I told you called me about it, and I was I don't know if we talked about this or not, but I watched the first 2 parts, and it took me a while to watch the politics, and I'm not into politics, right?
Yeah.
And I saw, I remember when it was kind of going on, but you know what took me back, honestly, is it was so long ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize he got 2 consecutive terms.
Yeah.
I thought he was one and done.
No, he won the special. It was a recall, and then he ran and won. Okay. So he was there for like 2.5 or 3 years, and then a full term.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was like 1.5.
So he was halfway through his term when Davis got
recalled.
Okay.
He took the rest of it over, and then he won. So I think he was there for 8 years total. That's man, people can say what they want. Like I would never want that.
But a lot of people, I think that's one thing. I wonder if he regrets it. Like that was the thing. Like if you looked at the success of the documentary, it was, the bodybuilding thing was interesting because remember I went to Arnold where he grew up. I saw the gym that he first trained at. Like you probably never even get to see that. So one of the best trips I ever done was through Germany and Austria. I actually said to Angie, I said, if we go to Europe, I feel that should be our trip.
Just take a car. Did you take a car?
Yeah, someone drove me in a van, so I was able to watch and see everything, all the mountains and everything. But I think us going and doing, instead of going to the major cities of the tourist traps, because I know with Venice, it wasn't a great experience for me, and I've been there a couple times, but it's just, I couldn't really do a lot because people were recognized me a lot. I mean, and I appreciate that, but at the same time, it's hard to really take it all in, especially when you're with someone, they're there for the first time, right?
Yeah.
So what I would like to do is see the history, the culture, and see what is so different, like the more rural things. I think that would excite me a little more. I think a lot of that would, even here, like we talk about Reno and, going to Tahoe and these places. I mean, dude, my passion when I was growing up was to be a park ranger. Like I thought, okay, criminal justice, I can do many different things, but I thought park ranger might be something that I wanted to do. I worked on a golf course, so I got into kind of like learning about, more nature and, like everything, like taking care of greens and whatever else. So I feel like I was heading in that direction. And then, of course, I found bodybuilding and it kind of derailed me a little bit but I really wanted to be a park ranger. And I think I enjoyed the nature because I grew up in the nature. Now, as you know, I like things to be at hand and just comfortable for me because I am considered a bodybuilder, right? I have to have food and I have to have a gym and I have to have like civilization to be around, but to take myself away. So if we did that, that would be kind of cool. But I went to Arnold's house. I saw like what they claimed were his first weight sets and his bed and all that other stuff. But it just blew me away a little bit because we kind of know the story. I mean, we've been around bodybuilding forever and we hear different things, but I think with Arnold, like he's one of these people that, you know, everyone has dreams and aspirations, and it seemed like the way they put that documentary together, it just was so right. Like the sequence of it, you could tell like he controlled that narrative pretty much. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was a great, the part 2 for sure. I mean, I'm still not done with the politics one.
Yeah. See, to me, my favorite part was the end of the third part.
Where I haven't seen it yet. Well,
I'm going to spoil it. There's a part where he goes, you know, you look in the mirror and you don't see this or this. And he goes, you get 75 and you look in the mirror and you just go, what the fuck? And he says it just like that. The way he says it, it's just like he's so disappointed at his physique, but he's 75. Like, I'm assuming this comes with life, and he's so upset at how he looks.
Accepting it, right?
He's just like, what the fuck? Was something going on?
No, I just was looking at the people leaving here.
But no, it was, I thought it was one of the better documentaries at the timeline. And I think it shows a side to him where he shows himself a little vulnerable when he talks about Joseph and he talks about the things that he's done good and maybe not right in his life, and he owned up to it. And I just think it was a good. I think it was a really good documentary, and I don't. You definitely have to watch it.
A lot of people have come up to me and asked me, "Oh, did you see the doc? Did you think that they released it as a trigger for his series?" Isn't it kind of funny because we kind of knew behind the scenes when all this was going on, and
I knew he was filming in
Canada. Because weren't we trying to book? We were trying to book something. I think we were trying to actually talk about doing a podcast or something.
Yes, and he was in Canada, and he was there for an extended period of time filming. You know what's really funny about this? I didn't know he had a documentary coming out. I knew he had that FUBAR. I knew that was coming out. So when people were talking about, like, oh my God, the Arnold documentary, I'm going, that? I didn't realize 2 things were released, you know, because I didn't. So when I started watching it, and I'm like, wow, this thing's really good. Like the way they put it together, it was definitely
Angie was watching the FUBAR last night, and she actually said, "Oh, it's pretty good." She was actually into it last night.
I haven't had time to sit down and watch it. I watched the like I said, I watched the documentary, but I'll probably have to.
The last time I watched things continually were during the pandemic, right, when we weren't traveling extensively, and now, of course, we go every week. This weekend, I'm in Ohio. So I'll be at the Bullfrog event this weekend. This will be launched by then.
Yep.
So 11 to 2, I'll be in Toledo at the Bullfrog Nutrition. Make sure you guys come by and see me if you're in that area. I'll be signing autographs and taking pictures.
Yeah, I'm leaving the country to an unknown destination for 3 days, and I will be back Saturday night. And hopefully we can. Hopefully we'll have some big things to talk about at one point down the road. So, and then after that, go ahead.
So talk a little bit about the show.
Which one?
About the Big Man show.
Yeah.
We have another qualification. Okay,
yes.
And we still have several shows left. I know there's a lot of confusion because a lot of these are out of the country shows.
Yeah, so the Big Man show, Andrea Presti won.
I think that's the 3rd year in a row, though.
Is it? And, I mean, look.
Roman Fritz was second.
But it looked to me like it was a pretty clear win for him. Now, do I think he has enough to move into the top 10? I don't think he has that arsenal yet. I'm not saying he can, and I never want to tell somebody what they can or can't do because they'll prove us wrong. But I just know the people that are ahead of him, it's going to be hard for some of these guys to get out unless something goes wrong. And there's a lot. I mean, look, it's getting in the top 10 this year, just like last year, is going to be a feat in itself.
Vancouver's next.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have Chicago. And, you know, we do have Andrew trying to qualify. We have Hunter, but those guys are in Tampa and Texas, I think.
Are they doing?
I don't know if they're doing both or not, but I'm pretty sure Vancouver is this weekend, isn't it?
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now. So we have Vancouver's this weekend. Next weekend is Chicago.
Stan's doing Vancouver.
Is he? Next weekend is Chicago. The week after is Spain.
Yeah, it's show after show now.
Yep. And then the weekend after that is Tampa. Then there's a split weekend. Then the 19th is Irving, Texas. And then there's a Masters the same weekend. And then the next weekend we'll be in Romania, but that's just a Masters. And then we got Milan, Italy on 9-10. And then we got Alicante, Spain on 9-17. And then Little France there's a week in between Little France, and that's a Cheroux Classic. And then it's looking like we got Reno the first weekend in October. And then there's another one in Italy, and then Orlando as for the Mr. Olympia. So I don't know if this
I thought the Legions was the last qualification.
It could be, which would be a month before the Olympia. So that Rome show
will qualify for the next year.
It could. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think.
So we still have, technically, before the Olympia, I mean, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 shows. 10 shows. Yeah, I mean, that's still a good amount. I mean, let me pull up the Olympia qualifier. And we still have, so there's 10. Let me pull up who's already qualified. I'm trying to think who we're missing.
Make sure it's updated.
Brett Wilkins, Hottie, Derek Lunsford, Nick Walker, Brandon Curry, Big Ramy, Samson, Behruz, Tony Burton, Ross Flanagan, Ian, Michael Crizzo, and Phil Klahar. So
and
I mean, there's
Andrea Presti
and Andrea Presti. Yeah. So, and if we go back to
they don't have Jay Cutler on there, or Phil Heath, or
well, they're probably assuming you're not. Maybe I should tell them you might compete, and they'll put you on the list. Let's see here. Now, if we pull up
Phil Klahar crack, I mean, can he win the Masters?
I don't know. What do you think?
See.
What do you think?
I think he's got a good shot. He's got momentum.
So I'm just gonna name some people on here that haven't won that are still out there. So we still got Andrew Jacked. We still have James Hollingshead.
He's not doing it.
He's not? Okay. We still have Antoine.
He's not doing it.
William Bonac.
Bonac's taking the year off too, okay. I think.
We have Patrick Johnson.
I don't know what's going on with him.
Charles Griffin.
I don't know what's going on with him.
Justin Rodriguez. Mo Shaban. Akeem.
Akeem's off, I think.
Hunter. Raphael Brandow.
He's out.
Joel Thomas. Oh, Raphael is?
Yeah, he's not competing.
And Blessing.
Blessing's doing Chicago.
Is he? And then obviously Regan and Nathan Diasha.
Yeah.
And this new guy that Chris Aceto's coaching.
Good Vito.
Good Vito.
He hurt his leg or something.
Did he?
Yeah.
So I mean they're still oh wait, and then we still have Andrea Muzzi and Andrea Muzzi still. So there's still a good amount of people out there. I don't know if Sergio is competing. I haven't heard much from him, so I don't know if he's I knew he was obviously in really good shape. So hopefully he jumps in one of these shows. I don't know who else we're missing. Anyone?
Oh, let's talk a little bit about our bikini winner this past weekend. 40 wins.
Oh my God, yeah.
How could we not have her on our topics?
Now we're definitely gonna bring her on the podcast.
We've been talking about this, yeah.
Because she's local.
40 pro wins. Dexter Jackson. How do we feel about that?
How many does Dexter have? 29?
I think 29. I think he was trying to get to 30, or I don't think he ever tried, actually. I think he just
man,
pretty amazing.
I know some people might try to downplay it because it's bikini, but I don't care what division you're going in. It's not easy to even let's just call it for what it is. It's not easy making it to the stage. You still got to turn pro. There's so many things that can go right or wrong in life that can affect you.
Well, I mean, listen, she was Miss Olympia. She fell down, and she resurged back up against a hell of a, like, the sport has evolved.
And she's beating top girls.
This would be like Wendia, who I think is super impressive, by the way, being, a 4-time winner, and then sitting out for whatever years. He's been off the stage for 5-6 years, coming back and doing well, dominating. I mean, which is a chance, right?
Every show,
and
Ashley
staying
goes
with
in.
it, because he's only 30, I think.
Is he?
Yeah.
And Ashley's still pretty young too. I kind of feel bad for this. One day I was like, "Yo, you doing the Masters?" And she looked at me and she's like,
"No way."
She's like, "How old do you think I am?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm just kind of thinking you've been around since."
Well, 35's Masters.
I think it's 40, isn't it?
No, I thought it's 35 for women.
She's not old enough.
Yeah,
she's not old enough. But the simple fact that just to just to get to that stage is a big accomplishment. But to win 40 shows, but think how many times she's got second.
I know, but listen, I know this is bikini, and a lot of our viewers, listeners, they're like, why you guys talk? We want to give love to every division. It's just like, I mean, we try to do it with men's physique, classic. I mean, like Urs was just here training at Steve's gym. I mean, I did talk to Steve, and I mean, it was pretty cool. He had C-Bum there. He had Urs there. He had Andrew Jack recently. Big Rami spent a lot of time there hanging out. I mean, this has been a hell of a year for our East Coast Mecca, which, you know, there's just got a bunch of new equipment out there. And
they got a bunch of new tech equipment. Yeah. East Coast Mecca has more traction than the Mecca in California.
Yes.
And people can flame me or whatever. That's the reality of it.
I mean,
so even think of this.
Steve's really, he's passionate about this gym.
Of course. Yeah, no, I mean, because you got to think the Golds never had an owner passionate like Steve. But Steve's not, you know, he's not going anywhere as far, you know, he's not selling it off.
You've been training at Torture a couple times, huh?
Yeah, no, I went in there earlier today. Joe Kinn's in town, who's Brian Shaw's strength coach. He was an NFL strength coach, so I met him up there earlier today and just kind of
How's it going over there? Tell me what's happening.
Good. I mean, it's there's people constantly
Who's in the house all
in.
the time? Is it Regan's home pretty much?
Yeah, that's Regan's home gym. Milos trains, you know, people out of there. Obviously, you see Nick Walker coming in there. You see Six-Pack Chicks training out of there. She's getting ready for the WBFF World Championship. But you see a lot of just different – I think there's a good amount of pros in Vegas that kind of circle around the gyms. They go to Dragon's Lair. They go to Fit Club. They go to Elevation. They kind of just pop around and just kind of – don't get you. I don't know. You know,
it's a tough question. Someone asked me actually today, the youngster that's in town, the pro from Spain, and he asked me, "What's the best gym in Vegas?" Tough question.
You can't. I don't think you can answer that.
Yeah, he went to Dragons. He went to Elevation yesterday, and I think Torture also.
I don't think there's a gym that you can say.
Depends what you're training.
This is the best gym. It depends on what you're training, and it also depends on the environment you want to be around.
But everyone's environment is necessarily different,
yeah.
Right? I mean, Dennis Wolf has a private gym in his yard.
Trains in his backyard.
And it's like he invited me to come at 6. I'm going to take him up on one of these offers, you know, just because Dennis is such a good guy. And like we went up there for his grand opening and whatever. But I understand why he trains at 6 because I got out a little late today. I didn't get out of bed till 8 this morning. You know, I stayed up pretty late. I did cardio late. I've been doing cardio at like 11, my last session. So I was a little tired, so I'm like, I woke up at 6. You know, Angie got up at like 5:30 and moved out to the theater room, and I texted her. I said, "Where'd you go?" She said, "Oh, I just couldn't sleep, whatever," because she went to bed a lot earlier than me. So I got out walking, and you know, I was talking to Mel this morning. We were talking, and then you had a call, but so I got out about 8:30,
which is late for
you. It was hot.
Yeah,
it was super hot.
I saw it was like 109 today.
So I walked. I only did 30 minutes outside, and I called it. I mean, I went to the gym and trained, and then I did my other 30 minutes after. So now I still have 30 minutes to do today because I'm doing an hour and 30 minutes a day total.
I already did 40 this morning. You know what I don't know what it is. I always wake up at like 5:30 or 6.
Well, I wake up too, but I mean, I realize that I do need sleep, and like if I don't have to get up and do a call at 7 or 8 o'clock, I'm good, right? So
yeah.
I try to get a little more rest than normal, especially when I know I'm going to be traveling this weekend. And I'm smart because I booked the flight to go not at 6 in the morning. I could have taken that United flight through Denver.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do it because I have to get up at 3, you know, because remember, I get up and I have to cook a breakfast. I got to cook some meals to go and, you know, to have time to go to the airport. And, you know, I like to get there a little early because I don't want to have to rush because I usually drive myself. So I got to park the car, walk in, check whatever I need to check, and I'll probably sell some stuff. It can get a little taxing.
I actually fly out tomorrow at like 12.
Okay, so you're good. You're good.
Which I like the early flights because it doesn't like I wake up at 5 anyway, so I don't really care.
What airline you flying?
United.
Okay,
I go from Vegas.
I
to
got
Houston.
a lot of Delta flights lately, man.
We have one coming home from Mexico City.
I might have to jump on Dexter Jackson's train and get on this United on this
on the
Delta kick. Yeah.
I think it just look it all depends on what's usually the best routing out of here for us is United. Delta doesn't have the best routing out of here. That doesn't mean that they're like when we go to Mexico City, I'm flying down there before you because I'm getting in with Dana and Rob early. Because I always, anytime we ever do an event, I always, if there's a group of people going, I always get there before everybody to make sure everything's good. That's just how I've always been. So I'm leaving out at 6 a.m. So I'll get up at 4 and get there. You come in at night, but you land the same time Mike and Mona land, and Dane and Rob land about 20 minutes after me. So I'll just sit at the airport with them. But
this is for what, Houston?
This is for Texas.
Okay.
Or no, for Mexico City.
Okay.
So on the way home, we're on Delta because there's a it's Air Mexico. We're on a nonstop instead of that was the only way we could get out. Otherwise, we'd have had to stay till Monday. I'm like, I'm not going to stay till Monday, so we'll just take the direct flight back to Vegas from Mexico City. But yeah, no, I had Delta 365 one year, which is their private. That's their version of Global Services. This was probably in 2008 or 2009 or 2010. I had it, but when I lived in Florida, Delta was by far the best to fly. One, yeah. And, Dexter lives in Jacksonville, so it's only a 35-minute flight from Jacksonville to Atlanta. And from Atlanta, you can go anywhere in the world, because that's the busiest airport in the world. So for us, the only hub that's close to us, obviously this is a hub for Allegiant and Frontier, but the closest hubs for us are Denver, LA, Houston. And if we were flying on Delta, you're either going to Atlanta, Salt Lake City, Minneapolis, or Detroit. So it Denver's a little closer for us. And from Denver, you can pretty much go everywhere. So, but then, we have that this week, and the next week we got the American Fitness Expo.
One day, guys, by the way. One day, Saturday.
You love that, don't you?
No, everyone's confused because they're like, oh, I thought it was.
Yeah.
I think even Guy thought it was 2 days for some reason.
The event's going on for 2 days. Like the next day, I think they have basketball and stuff like that, but they're not going to have the fitness celebrities there. So we go in, and I have to go in 2 days before everyone else because I have different meetings to go to. But you guys come in Friday night, all of you. And then we do the event, and right when the event's over, every single one of us goes right back to the airport. It's like me, you, Regan, Six-Pack Chick, and Brad are all in the same flight home. She's like, we booked the seats right behind you so we can fuck with you. And then Yarishna's flight is 5 minutes apart from us. She goes back to LA. And then Guy's flight is like 20 minutes after us. He goes nonstop back to, no, he switched it. He goes to Dallas. So all of us go. The only person that's not going on the same time as us, Aaron Banks, obviously he's going back to Fresno. So his flight, he's going to leave a couple hours before us. And Angelica leaves the same time as us because she goes back to Austin, Texas. So that'll be fun, though, because it's you got to think the first time we went was 2016.
Gosh, so long ago.
Just think about it, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we had 5 years.
So I toasted up. It's all this is on my Instagram, guys. So you guys looking to get tickets for, like I said, this weekend is free event. Houston Expo, 22nd of July. And then we all head to Mexico City the end of the month, which is USA weekend. Unfortunately, we'll miss some of our friends here. A couple podcast people we want to
I know. I was going to say that. That was a question someone asked.
Yeah, what do we got for questions?
We don't have a bunch. Just a couple I remember off the top of my head. Who would each one of us like to have on the podcast? Like, who's someone you would really like? Like, in the beginning, we talked about
Dwayne Johnson.
Do you think we could get him, though?
No.
Why not? Why don't you hit him up?
I'd like to get Dwayne on.
Who else? So he would be like
Hulk Hogan. I'd love to have Hulk Hogan.
Maybe Mel can set that up.
Yeah, I'd love to have Hulk Hogan.
See, I would love to have Mel on, just because I want to hear.
Yeah, he can't. I don't know.
One day when he can, I would just love to be able to hear all those stories.
Yeah. I don't know if he'd tell all the stories though, but I witnessed like a lot of craziness.
We'll get it out of him.
Trying to think. What about females? Who would be a good female guest?
Someone asked about Corey Everson.
Yeah, she's
from
good,
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
She's from Madison, Wisconsin.
Who do you remember of the Miss Olympias? I mean, Linda Murray would be
good. Iris Kyle lives here.
Yeah.
Iris would be good. I don't know. I don't know who else. I mean, we had Dana on. She's probably the most popular female. Linda would be good just because, she's just a loved person. Kim Chavesky.
I think Lee Haney would be really good to have on, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Love to have Lee on. Kevin Levrone I'd like to have on.
Yep. Kevin, Lee, Sean Ray. I would still love.
Yes,
that,
I still want to get Sean. Yeah,
and for me, I want to still have Steve Weinberger on because I want to. He just has a different vision than the rest of us have. So think of all those battles that you were on stage battling, but I want to hear from his perspective what he was seeing.
Ronnie Coleman would be great too.
Oh, well, I mean that's a given. That one has to happen, just because that's your arch nemesis, and I mean he has to.
I think Gunter I'd like to have on too.
Yeah,
Gunter comes sometimes. So anyone that's linked to Gunter, tell him I want to get him on the podcast.
He'd be good. Jim Mannion would be good.
Yeah,
just like I said, I'm anyone who knows me, I'm a historical, and I love like architecture. I love history. I love traveling around the world, and I like to sit across from someone and have a conversation when they can.
Dorian Yates would be good too.
Oh, absolutely. Anyone that can maybe talk about things that we don't know. Like nothing, just something simple. Like something could have happened in one of these Olympias and that they say, oh, you didn't even know this and this happened, and we get to learn something new. So I think those guys would be good.
I think Rich Gaspari would be good too.
Yeah.
I think he would have a lot of knowledge. He trained with Lee Haney. I mean, I love hearing the old school stories. Ed Connors would be great.
What about Lee Labrada?
Yeah, he would be great too.
Yeah, well, we still got to get him in. Hunter too. We still haven't got him on. We'll put Nick Walker on. We just have to, find the time.
We need to get him in between his meals,
Yeah. No, he would be good. What about non-bodybuilding people?
That's a great question.
People that are not fitness, just
I don't know. I mean, if
Dana White.
Yeah, Dana would be great. Goggins would be cool.
Yep. And they both, and it's funny because they live right here. Goggins here, Dana's here. There's people that I worked with in the music industry, whether it was a Little John or a Ludacris, Ludacris is a fitness guy. Like the last time I did a show with him, he was actually texting his dietitian what he had to eat because he was filming that Fast and the Furious that was in, this was back in like 13 or 14, that was filmed in Abu Dhabi. So he was on a strict diet. So he was like, I have to eat this, and he was following it. He trained every day, and so he would be good. Flo Rida, just because he's a.
What about Mr. Las Vegas, Wayne Newton?
What the hell would we talk to him about? You sing for us?
No, history in Vegas, God. Man.
Think of the taps he could talk about. Nobody knows what we mean by that. You know what, though? Wayne Newton might have some kind of like mafia shit he could talk about. Because how long is it? When did he move here? He was here in the 70s and 80s, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't like the Las Vegas mafia stuff still like happening back then? Like he might have had like mobsters like Nicky Santoro.
Mark Wahlberg would be cool.
He'd be good. I don't know if I just don't know if these people are realistically accessible. I mean, we could always get a hold of them, but they might say like, who the hell are you guys? Piss off. We'll go do Joe Rogan.
I'll catch Mark up at F45 at like 4 a.m. one of these days in Summerlin because he's out there doing his videos. You ever see it?
No, I don't.
Yeah, he's outside of F45. It's right in Boca Park.
Oh, really?
And he's like, I'm here at F45. I just got my workout in because he trains, around the clock. He's
does he have a bunch of those? Does he have a bunch of those filmed and you just post them?
No, I recognize it though.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap it up and
tell us who you want us to get on here.
We'd said a million names. It sounds ridiculous. But,
I know. We
Mike O'Hearn, I want to get on too.
Yeah, Trent, why don't you come on here? I'm going to call him out. Trent O'Hearn needs to come on the podcast.
There's a lot of people. Larry Wheels, I'd like to get on. I mean, we talked about him. Mike Rashid, we want to get on.
Yeah, you know what, Mike? We were just here with him too. It just didn't work out. But the difference between this podcast and every other one. We're only going to do it if they're live and in person. I'm sure if we wanted to FaceTime or Zoom, we could do it, but it's not the same when you can actually talk to someone. It's more authentic, and I think you get a better vibe from it than if you're just staring at a computer. It just doesn't seem right. And fortunately for us, we live in the city that everyone comes to it. We just have the problem is a lot of times when they're here, we're out of town.
Yeah.
So we really gotta. Well, now that we put all these names out there, I'm hoping that the word will get to some of the different people we named, and they'll reach out to us when we're coming here. Because sometimes people come here and they don't want anyone to know.
Yeah.
They just want to come enjoy Vegas, and they don't want to show up here, show up there, and they'll, like, I know different people that come to town and I'd say, hey, where are you going to train? They're like, I'm staying at MGM. I'm just going to train at the gym here. And you go, obviously those gyms are really nice at the casino. So, but.
Well, we appreciate all the comments, guys. Once again, make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow, share this video. Shout out, like I said, again, to Celsius. You guys are supporting us since day one, so we appreciate you so much. And, you know, for episode 82, I can't even get it right. For episode 83, we are out.